Catalonia was the anarchist stronghold. Here the revolution was more profound, more extreme. By the end of July, anarchists who had seized weapons to defeat the rising dominated the city of Barcelona. It was a moment anarchist militants like Josep Costa had been waiting for.
Però en aquells moments, quan se produeix el trencament, quan la societat rebenta,
at that moment, when society burst wide open, there was such tremendous enthusiasm among the working class, and this was channeled through the unions, the parties, everywhere.
Els partits polítics, a tots els llocs on la gent concorria, amb un entusiasme.
People participated with such enthusiasm, with such vitality, that it's very difficult to describe it now after so many years and to examine that situation coldly. But I do have to say that among ourselves, many of us said, now's the time to destroy all that has been oppressing us.
But for them, the campaign was not just against the army rebels, but against capitalism itself. While the columns surged out to defeat the enemy, committees of workers in the town struggled to construct a new order out of the confusion.
At
that time, it seemed impossible to solve those initial difficulties, but looking back, people really showed a lot of common sense. Everything was improvised. You could call it a miracle. Despite the religious meaning of the word, it was a miracle achieved by the ordinary people.
As the chaos subsided, this new revolutionary society began to function. Much of the Catalan economy was now being run by the workers themselves. In Barcelona, trams and cinemas, factories, department stores and even greyhound tracks were run by their own employees. The trade unions saw to food supplies. Union lorries drove out to the villages with goods to exchange for food. Barter, not purchasing, kept Barcelona fed for the first weeks of the Civil War. In some places, money itself, seen by anarchists as inherently evil, was abolished. Shopping was done with vouchers, issued by local committees.
What do these vouchers represent? Well, they had to represent hours of production, the hours spent by a carpenter building a piece of furniture, or the hours spent by a peasant harvesting, working on the fields. Everything was calculated in hours of production. The peasants liked it because it meant making them equal to the industrial workers, making all work equal.
Vouchers bought bread at the bakers, or into canteens serving cheap meals to militiamen and working-class families, as its anarchist newsreel proclaimed.
En sus grandes cocinas se prepara la comida para cuantos van al hotel a saciar su apetito. Los amplios comedores que antes ocupaban maquilladas y frívolas damiselas, grandes financieros, capitanes de industria, aristócratas ociosos y aventureros internacionales de toda la Haya, ahora están abarrotados de hombres y mujeres humildes que siguen el ritmo de la sociedad que se está creando. Barcelona trabaja y come, esa es su fuerza y su virtud.
Now that the factories and workplaces were in the hands of the workers, anarchist union leaders like Josep Costa fought to start production again.
We told the workers to get back to the factory and wait for our instructions. Immediately we called all the factory owners and executives to a meeting at the town hall. We told them, well, gentlemen, something big has happened here. We don't know what's going to happen, but the factories have to continue functioning. We ask you to be at work again tomorrow at whatever hour you're supposed to start. 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Agreed? Agreed. But we have to warn you, labor relations will be very different from now on.
The CNT, the anarchist trade union, had been taken by surprise when the revolution began. It was anarchist militants who rallied the workers to take over their industries. Where the old bosses remained, they had to take orders from these workers' committees. Nearly 2,000 enterprises were collectivized in Catalonia, the greatest experiment in workers' self-management Western Europe has ever seen. The workers now set about improving their working conditions. Free medical care and adequate pensions were introduced.
For men, things hadn't changed all that much. Our lives, however, had really changed. Women took men's places not only in factories, not only as a workforce, not only in the war industry. It was all women. At that time, to be a woman and to be young was the ultimate.
The revolution brought women instant and radical changes. Abortion was soon made available on demand. Initially, women went to the front to fight and die in the trenches. For Spanish feminists, prostitution was a relic of capitalist exploitation, to be abolished. They set up schools to re-educate prostitutes. Revolutionary vice squads cleaned up the red light district of Barcelona. But it wasn't easy to change old habits overnight.
At the union there were arguments. We've heard that you shut the brothels. Where will people go now? The others would reply, they can find a girlfriend or get married. That can't be done overnight, they'd say. You could have shut 2 brothels today, another 2 tomorrow, so that people could get used to the idea. The same with the taverns. What about the waiters? What will they do for a living? Teach them another trade. Where? You see, there were those we called the pragmatists, the realists who could see the revolution wasn't easy. But then there were the moralists, those who gave the Spanish Revolution the healthy air it had.
Anarchists disapproved of marriage, believing that couples should unite or part freely, without any license from church or state. Young revolutionaries happily adopted their advice, but many mothers were appalled by free love.
Some mothers even came to the union to speak with people they considered apostles of free love. Look, my daughter has left home without telling me. She's living somewhere with someone. We'd say, we're all in favor of it. Yes, but that boy will leave, and we don't even know his name. Well, anyway, the union decided this had to be legalized somehow. So they invented what they called revolutionary weddings.
Revolutionary weddings took many different forms. This is what happened in the Barcelona Woodworkers Union.
We made 3 copies of the marriage certificate, the original and 2 more. The union kept the original, and 1 copy each was given to the man and the woman, who were told, if at any time you have any problems and wish to separate, come here with both pieces of paper. We'll take our copy and set fire to the 3 of them, and you'll be free again. That was the official wedding ceremony. But as with many other things, it became necessary to force the situation a bit, because there wasn't enough time for persuasion and proper education. So the president of the union, very amusing man from Seville, would take the man aside after the ceremony and tell him, look, What we said about burning the documents isn't quite as easy as you think. It's something that has to be thought about carefully and properly weighed up. So don't come here pestering me, because if you do, I'll give you such a kick in the balls, you'll remember it for the rest of your days, right? So off you go, be happy, long live the revolution.
Young labourers rushed to join the militia. As the columns advanced, they spread the revolution. The ancient dream of a collective society without profit or property was made reality in the villages of Aragon. In many places, money itself was abolished. All forms of production were owned by the community. Stateless was one of the many Aragonese villages collectivized in the summer of 1936. For the villagers, the experience has now become a well-remembered legend. These three men were among the young local anarchists who abolished private property in stateless matters. Benigno Castañer was a carpenter.
We built a sufficiently large workshop on the outskirts of the village, and all the carpenters went to work there. They appointed a delegate to represent them at the collectivization committee. The same was done for the bricklayers, the barbers, the blacksmiths, for every trade. The tailors also.
Well, all the barbers had joined the collective voluntarily. They were all in it voluntarily, weren't they? A large shop was found for them, and the 3 or 4 barbers in the village all brought along their tools and their chairs, and they all worked there for free.
And most of their work was done when the peasants came back from the fields in the evening. This also caused some problems, because some people would say, "Look at those lazy barbers. They spend the whole day walking around doing nothing." So we had to explain to everybody that they worked until 10 p.m. so that everybody could be served. Some people just didn't realize how late the barbers had to work. Well, this is one of those minor inconveniences.
The anarchists of the collective by choice are out of fear. The old world of cash and property, rich and poor, now disappeared.
Money was abolished, and we created what we called the family card, with all the members of the family, and everything that wasn't produced here was allotted according to the numbers in each family. For example, sugar, rice, even meat, 100 grams per person per day. And it was the same for everybody. There were no preferences. Everybody ate as much as they wanted of the local produce. So money for use in the village was completely abolished.
The first problem was that because everything was free, coffee, tobacco, this was a problem. Everything was free, so everybody wanted to drink coffee, everybody wanted to smoke, and so on. So this is something that had to be corrected, and that's when we started rationing cigarettes.
No, tobacco was rationed, but we never denied anybody his cigarettes. This was a contradiction for us because we were against all vices, and yet we were well aware that by handing out free cigarettes we encouraged people to smoke, but we couldn't deny them to anybody.
For the anarchist peasants in stateless matters and in other villages, collectivization brought instant benefits. The profit motive had disappeared. Everyone now worked only for the community.
I joined the collective fully convinced, and I gave everything. At home they were nearly crying because I took everything to the collective. Our sheep, all our money, everything. And with such enthusiasm. And working as much as we did before because the harvest had been delayed. We worked day and night.